What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. First and foremost, before we dive into this, if you could, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single piece of content. Leave me a like, it really helps out the channel. And also leave me a comment as we work through this video. Let me know how you feel about what we cover in today's video, as well as anything you've seen in the past, anything that you would like to see in the future. We're going to take a look at Jonathan Mingo, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss, going against Vandy. We're going to take a look at some of his film. Very intriguing prospect. He's starting to rise in the rankings. Peter Schrager, at the time of recording this today, actually put out a mock draft where he sneaks into round 1 to the New Orleans Saints. A little bit rich for me. I really do like the player. Came out as my wide receiver 6 throughout this process of my final rankings. Shade under 6'2", 6'1 plus, 220, 9.86 RAS, which is obviously fantastic. Elite explosion grade, great size and speed grade as well, ranking 43 out of all wide receivers since 1987 with his RAS. Just going over some of his game. I was taking notes when I was going through this game specifically, and also just, throughout his film and entire process. I really like his ball tracking. His body control is also great, and I really like the pacing in his routes. I don't think that he's a great route runner. I would say that's probably one of the knocks on him, his inability to sell his routes at the stem. But the pacing of his routes, I think, is good. I think he's really good at making in-air adjustments as well. And he's flexible through his breaks to kind of make up for some of that, what he lacks in his route running. The one question that I really do have in terms of his catching ability is I think sometimes, he lets the ball go into his body. How good of an actual hands catcher is he away from his body? Sometimes he just lets it get a little bit too deep in his body. And I don't think he's a great separator. That kind of goes back into the route running aspect of things. I just don't think he's really polished in that area. What I do like about him, though, in terms of his game and how it would translate to the next level, is his ability to play inside or outside. I think he could be a big slot and you could get those mismatches inside. And I think that's why he'd be a great fit there. That's probably the way that I would utilize him personally, but I think having that flexibility, he's going to be enticing for a lot of teams throughout this process. And that's probably why he's rising the way that he has. Again, finishing as my wide receiver 6. I don't see that changing. I think that these are my final rankings. There's still a couple of guys that I want to take maybe a second or third look at, but I think for the most part, these are going to be finalized. So yeah, we're going to take a look at him against Vanderbilt, where he absolutely went off in this game. But yeah, we're going to dive into it now. And again, subscribe, like, hit that notification bell, comment down below as we dive into this. And let's get rolling. All right, so yeah, he's going to be at the bottom of the screen here. He's not involved in this play at all, as you can see. Just he's running a screen route. I don't know that this would ever, if he was even an option to go on this play. I mean, Jackson Dart doesn't even look his direction. I think the entire time this is just designed to go to the running back. You can see, they're selling some routes up the field. But yeah, bottom of the screen again here. There's some funny plays on here where, there's obviously nothing to take away here about Mingo himself. Bad snap. Jackson Dart just has to get back on it and throw it away. Good job by Jackson Dart, I guess, not taking the loss there, the loss of yardage. Bottom of the screen again. And this is just a run play. He's not, again, going to be involved in it at all. I will say, as we work through this, you'll see in a lot of running plays, when they come to his side, he is somebody that wants to block. And I think that getting that from your receiver, kind of a prerequisite for most teams, as I think it should be. You want to see a guy that's willing to do that. How competitive are they? How engaged in the game are they going to be when they don't have the football in their hands? I don't think that's really a question for Mingo, and you're going to see that as we work through this game in particular. Bottom of the screen again. Here's a run play. You can see him getting down the field, taking on his blocker, pushes him out of bounds. Gives him a nice little ride out of bounds there. I think too, we could just take a look at plays where I know that Mingo's involved in heavily and look at the film that way. But I really like getting like the full landscape here of the entirety of the game and just seeing what he's doing, even when the ball's not in his hands. He actually gets a reception here. This is probably a design touch. Yeah, I mean, because there's not really, you can see that they want to get the ball out of his hands quick. Obviously, 6 defenders get there pretty easily. The yak ability, as we work through this, I think you're going to notice too, while he's not a great route runner, his ability once the ball is in his hands, definitely is something that jumps off the page to you. Bottom of the screen again, ton of separation. I'm sorry, ton of cushion, I should say, being offered by the Vanderbilt defense here pretty much throughout. This just must be the way that Vanderbilt runs their defenses and uses their corners. Um, kind of playing with those deep cushions and giving them a ton of space, and they'd rather have them click and close as opposed to playing around the line of scrimmage and press man. That was a nice. I mean, that's not Mingo, but that's a nice catch. It's also a pretty nice zip. Not much of a window for Jackson Dart to throw into. That's a good adjustment. A little bit behind maybe, but again, didn't have the greatest window to work with there. Bottom of the screen, ton of cushion again. He's kind of just selling a slant there. But the ball, that's an RPO, getting the ball out quick. Lane Kiffin offense. Mingo, bottom of your screen. This might be the one I was looking. No, this is, yeah. It's a run play that didn't count anyway. Maybe it's the next one. I know that there's a play in here where I didn't like the way that he sold the route at the top. And it might be this next play. No, it's not. Yeah, it's a run play. He's blocking down the field. I mean, he stays on his guy. He keeps his hands on his guy the entire time. Again, you never really have to question the willingness to do so from him. Okay, this is a little bit different. Tighter coverage on this one. Yeah, all right, this is the one. I think he could do a better job here. Great catch, but it's out of bounds. I think he could do a better job at selling this at the top of the route. He does get a little separation on that defender, but that stutter didn't really do anything to that defender. Lined up in the slot here. Again, you will see him utilized in different areas. You'll see him lined up in the boundary. You'll see him lined up in the slot. So, you can ask him to play, I think, X, Y, or Z at the next level. It's going to be interesting to see how NFL offenses view him. Lined up in the slot here. On a designed run. Maybe an RPO. Bottom of the screen, you can see it's a 2x2 formation. Getting the ball out quick. Mingo does make a catch. He starts to really pile up the stats in this game. Just, not early. He wasn't as involved heavily early on as he was really in the second half. Bottom of the screen here. Interesting coverage on this one. I mean, that corner's kind of giving him the outside, shading towards the inside, I guess, trying to force him to the boundary. The safety help must be there. But Jackson Dart doesn't even look his direction on that. I mean, he could have probably had a quick 7 or so yards just getting him the ball. RPO again. This is kind of the way the Ole Miss offenses ran. We saw, Matt Corral excel at it the previous season. Jackson Dart this year, I don't know what to make of Jackson Dart, to be honest with you, which is another thing I wanted to bring up was the QB play for Mingo. I thought it was kind of sporadic. There we go. Really nice job coming across the entirety of the field. I like this concept. It's really spacing out the defense. They got to account for everybody. You just got guys coming across, crossing patterns, getting Mingo the ball out in space and letting him do what he does after the catch. It's at the bottom of the screen here on a run play. Bottom of the screen at 2x2. Dart's looking down the field. I think that this is another thing that I have an issue with evaluating too is I don't he wasn't asked to do a whole lot in terms of his route tree. And, is that because of limitations on him or is that just Ole Miss's offense? That's something that's probably going to have to be answered too. Otherwise you're talking about it's hard to figure out how limited of a player he's going to be at the next level. He's out on the boundary here. Dart goes to the inside. I mean, Lane Kiffin's a good offensive mind, but some of these concepts, it's obviously about making life as easy as possible for the quarterback, but you know, you're just not asking guys to do a whole lot. So when you really simplify things as much as they have, that transition to the NFL is going to not be as easy. Bottom of the screen here, run play. I haven't, you know what? This is my first time watching the entirety of this game. I went through and watched maybe the first quarter on my own prior just to get some notes um, outside of the box score and stuff. But some of this is I'm watching for the first time. This game in particular, I was going through and trying to figure out what other game of Mingo's I wanted to watch, and I saw his stats from this game. I was like, okay, let's take a look. Hmm, that was an interesting play. I, okay, so he's at the top of the screen here. It's like kind of cut off. He was running a deep post. Oh, that's ugly. Yeah, I mean, ton of time for Dart and then things get out of schedule here, out of structure, kind of off platform there. That's a hope and a prayer throw that gets picked off. You see what I'm saying, though? I mean, some of this stuff is just so basic and vanilla from this offense. I want to see them throw some different looks at this defense. All right, he's at the top of the screen. Doesn't generate much separation. Honestly, probably. Oh, that was interesting. Getting the ball. Okay, okay. So I really like this concept. Mingo himself. We got to back up a little bit. Mingo himself. This is the. You can see he probably should have stayed to the inside, but a ton of space here for Dart to just make a quick throw. They did a great job spacing out the defensive backs on this one. That free rushing linebacker kind of opens up the middle of the field here, and then it's just a foot race that they win. So that's a nice concept by Ole Miss on that one. After I called him out, nice job. Just heaving one when pressure gets there. Vandy only rushing 3. They still get to him. Dart just kind of has to throw it down the field. Good job on that one to at least not throw it into coverage. Throw it out of bounds where nobody can get it. That's not Mingo either. Mingo was top of the screen on that one. Top of the screen again. And it's a run play. This man must really come alive here in the second half of this football game. That's him right there, isn't it? All right, yeah. So let's see what he does on this one. This one might be tougher to see. So yeah, second quarter. As we can see here, he's top of the screen. You know, he really doesn't do anything. I mean, he just takes advantage of a guy kind of giving him that space on the inside. Doesn't really sell anything. There's no stutter step at the top of the route here. He just gets, he goes inside and the guy kind of lets him have that space, doesn't have any help on the inside. That's just Mingo taking advantage there of what that defense is giving him. Top of the screen here. It's a run play. Look at where he's at on this one. He was right at the line of scrimmage. That's interesting. That is very interesting. He's he's being like as a wing right there, basically. I thought maybe we were about to see him do the handoff or something. All right, top of the screen. Giving him a good bit of separation here. Looks like, he was just running a simple like curl on that one. Doesn't get the ball anyway, but top of the screen again, a good 7+ yards of space being given to him. Dart takes the check down. Don't know that Vanderbilt's defense is anything really to write home about, but top of the screen, you can see, that defensive back kind of goes into a back pedal right off the snap. And the offense just takes advantage of it. They get the ball to Mingo out quick. Actually, good job by that defensive back to not get totally washed out in the one-on-one. Mingo's pretty good in those situations, so he's able to at least hold on until he gets some help. Top of the screen, takes a screen, actually, breaks something, there's that yak ability again. The initial block by the other guy that was out there, but he makes a guy miss, gets upfield a little bit, gains some extra yardage. That's where that yak ability that, we've talked about kind of comes into play there. Top of the screen, very close to the line of scrimmage. And what in the world was this? Okay. Top of the screen. That was a very similar concept to that Jackson Dart designed run, but this time he actually hands it off. But again, you got Mingo right there. He's almost like lined up as a tight end. Just off that tackle's shoulder. Playing very close to the line of scrimmage. And that's the concept they're working with. And there's a touchdown by Ole Miss. They found something, I guess, within that formation that they just wanted to keep sticking to it. We saw Dart take one and then hand it off 2 different times. Really good block by the tight end out there, too. Working inside from the slot here. Another run, another touchdown for Ole Miss. Yeah, at this point, Ole Miss was identifying a weakness here within this Vanderbilt defense and just taking advantage of it. Top of the screen. Great separation on this one. That was a great job by Dart selling that he was handing this ball off, and that's a house call for Mingo. We'll run this one back, of course. So you see him at the top of the screen. Dart does a nice job selling this. I think Mingo does a nice job selling that he's going to be blocking too. They leave a little bit of space there in between those two defenders for him to split that seam, and he just does it. Again, really nothing here from like a route perspective that's too much to like write home about, but he gets his hands on a defender, gives him a little bit of a push, sells that he's a blocker on this play, and then just beats him up the seam. And then while he doesn't have like, I don't know, elite breakaway speed, it's good. It's good enough at the next level. He hits that burst. I think it's more about the explosion. Like he ramps up that speed very quickly, like the straight line speed, that second gear. Top of the screen here. He's just selling that to the defender the entire time that he's running around, even though the ball was been handed off like 3 seconds ago. Keeps number 8 honest. Top of the screen. Ooh. That's a nice throw and a nice catch. Working off the RPO. Not a ton of space there for him to put that football right on the hands. Mingo top of the screen. He's working inside, but it's a handoff anyway. Might have had something, honestly, if Dart throws that ball instead of hands it off. He's top of the screen again. Oh. I mean, he didn't generate a ton of separation. Let's go back on this one too. But if you look right here, that stutter step, I think, yeah, if Dart puts it out there in front of him, I think he had something. Might have been 6. He hit him with that pump fake too. I think he had just a hair of separation on that one. It would have required Dart fitting into it into a great window, a very small window. Mingo top of the screen there. He goes a different direction with it. Basically right off the snap, design rollout. Mingo top of the screen. What in the? I don't know what happened on that one. I'm very confused by. I don't know if that was a bad decision. I think the ball just didn't go anywhere where he thought it was going to go. This is a really cool concept. Oh, and there's the yak. There's the yak. Tell me he gets 6. He does. Obviously, we're going to have to go back on this one too. That interception is just super confusing. This one. What does he see here? I mean, he must have thought that number 8 was going to get all the way to that spot first. I mean, that's very confusing. Anyways, you see faking the pitch. You get 2 offensive linemen out here in space. He breaks a tackle, and no one touches him after that. He's got to break 1 tackle all the way back here, and he's gone after that because of that yak ability. Very cool concept. I love that fake pitch. You get the 2 linemen out in space. One guy gets their hands on him, then he gets to the outside, and he's gone. That's the second touchdown of the game. I mean, just the 2 touchdowns alone accounted for most of the yardage that he had in this game. But you can see at this point, up by, I'm bad at math, 18, 17. Yeah. This game's pretty much over at this point. So now you're going to see probably a lot of run blocking plays from Mingo, which again, could be when you are evaluating a wide receiver, I'm sure that there's times where that's what you're going to want to see. I mean, you want to see a complete receiver. It's willingness to do that. Bottom of the screen here. There he is. Willingness to block for sure, but he's getting washed out there every time. There's 3 different defenders there. Gives one of them a bump, tries to get his hands on another one, but there's 4 or 5 guys over there by the time that the ball carriers over there. So bottom of the screen here, they are actually going to the air. That's a nice job on a clear out route. Mingo kind of takes those guys down the field, leaves Dart with something underneath. He actually probably could have had Mingo. If Mingo keeps going towards the sidelines there, I don't know. I mean, Dart was just looking to get rid of the football at that point, but handoff, Mingo, working back towards the football, I guess. That wasn't an incredibly competitive rep by him in terms of the blocking. You can see him, get his hands on somebody, but you also have to be very careful blocking back towards like that. So nice little screen. Gets very close to the goal line on that one just by, being so big, refusing to go down along the boundary there. And that will do it. So there you go, folks. That is Jonathan Mingo versus Vanderbilt. That won a poll in terms of games that we're going to look at. I'm going to have a few other things as we work through here, gearing towards the 2023 NFL Draft. If there's a certain player that you would like to see, let me know. I might not be able to get the access to the most film on some guys like Tyreek Stevenson. I know, cornerback out of Miami, very tough to get anything on him, even though he's going to be a day 2 selection probably. But most guys, there's like 3 or 4 games that I can get access to. So if there's a player that you for sure want to see, let me know. I'll try to pick a good game and go through. And again, a full game breakdown, not just plays where they're involved in. So Jonathan Mingo first, Vanderbilt. Again, one of my favorite wide receiver prospects in this class, finishing out as wide receiver 6 for me. But yeah, if you are new or if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell, leave me a like and comment down below again how you felt about this video or another player that you would like to see some film on. So until then, we'll talk to you next time.